Skipping lunch and using blankets to stay warm is not how Ann and Keith Hartley envisioned their retirement. The couple live in Burnley, a northern English town that has been hit hardest by Britain's cost of living crisis. Now in their 70s, the Hartleys are even rationing cups of tea in the face of soaring energy bills and double-digit inflation.
I've noticed a big difference in the cost of living in Burnley. And with, you know, every time you go out to the shop, I'll get a basket of things and I think this will only be so much. And it ends up being nearly double. And it's crazy. The prices are just going out of control.
Millions in Britain are facing a difficult winter. But the Centre for Cities think tank says the nearly 95,000 residents of Burnley are most exposed to the shockwaves ripping through the economy. Residents here are facing the highest effective rate of inflation in mainland Britain. Centre of Cities estimates an 11.7% rise in prices in the year to September. That's compared with 10.1% nationally. With Britain sliding into what is expected to be a prolonged recession, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak will announce a raft of tax rises and spending cuts on Thursday. The government says it will ultimately deliver a quicker return to economic growth. But few households here are looking that far ahead. Alex Frost is a vicar at the St Matthew the Apostle Church in the centre of Burnley. The church runs a breakfast club and Frost says he has seen an increase in residents asking for hot meals and help with fuel bills.
These are people who have to make a decision that if their toaster packs up or their children's shoes wear out, they have a choice then. It's do I replace the shoes or do I buy food?
Many here struggle to reconcile Britain's status as the world's 6th largest economy against the fact that so many face destitution. Britain is the only group of 7 economies yet to recover fully from the health crisis slump. Finance Minister Jeremy Hunt has vowed to shield the poor and balance spending cuts with tax rises. But that is little comfort for Burnley's locals. A chronic lack of investment in social services, regional inequalities and an unreliable train network, especially outside London, have added to a sense of malaise. Opinion polls show a large majority of Britons think the country is heading in the wrong direction. And with the Bank of England predicting a lengthy turndown, things are likely to get worse before they improve.
With Republicans closing in on a narrower than expected majority in the U.S. House of Representatives, their leader, Kevin McCarthy, took a step on Tuesday toward the job he has long coveted, Speaker of the House.
I'm proud to announce the era of one-party Democrat rule in Washington is over.
McCarthy overwhelmingly won his party's nomination to become the chamber's next Speaker as he stood to take over the job from Democrat Nancy Pelosi, a job with a lot of clout and a lot of headaches.
We know our job will not be easy. We know the task. We've got a close majority. We're going to have to work together. And we want to work with anyone that wants to make America stronger.
As Speaker, McCarthy could force votes focusing attention on issues Republicans view as advantageous to them, inflation, energy policy, and crime, and launch investigations into Biden's administration and family. He would only be elected formally as Speaker when the new Congress takes office in January, presuming that Republicans take the majority as expected. But while McCarthy clinched the nomination to be House Speaker, Mitch McConnell faced a challenge to remain the Senate's minority leader, as Florida's Rick Scott said he would vie for the leadership role in an election on Wednesday after Republicans failed to take control of that chamber in last week's midterm elections. McConnell, who has not faced opposition for the job since he became the Republican leader in 2007, is seeking to become the longest-serving party leader in the chamber. Earlier on Tuesday, McConnell posed with newly elected Republican senators who did not respond to questions on whether they'd support him for the top spot.
Do you all support Leader McConnell as leader, to return as leader? Mr. Vance, Ms. Britt, Mr. Budd, Mr. Mullen, no comments?
I'm proud to announce the era of one-party Democrat rule in Washington is over. We've got a close majority. We're going to have to work together. And we want to work with anyone that wants to make America stronger. We want to work with anybody on both sides of the aisle if they want to make America energy independent, give their parents a say in their kids' education, or secure our borders, or stop defunding the police. We know there's challenges in this nation around the world. We're listening to the American public, but we are prepared to lead, regardless of the size of the majority. The one thing you'll learn is, as my opportunity to be Speaker, is the House is going to change. No longer is all the power going to rest the way Nancy had it. No more proxy voting. Bills will actually go through committees. They will be debated before they come to the floor, and people will actually have a say. When Juan won his primary, I called him that night, and he called me the next day, and he says, "Kevin, you don't understand what it feels like." That my victory party was simply a few blocks away from the doctor's house my father and I used to go to mow the lawn, to wash the car, just so we had more money. And this country just nominated me to be a member of Congress. When it got called last night, he called me. He was emotional like I'm emotional. That's the greatness of this country. But what I'm really proud of is, you just said about our party, from John James, from Wesley Hunt, Monica de la Cruz, Myra Flores. Some we came very close, Alan Fong and others. This party is more reflective of our country than almost any time in our nation, and it's only going to continue to grow. And you know what that means? You may have not looked at the Republican Party before, but your voice is going to be listened here. There's an opportunity. We ask that you join with us. This nation has a lot of challenges, and we pledge to you that we will work to solve it, so the next generation is the American generation. Thank you.
Is now the right time for Trump to announce?
As Russian forces launched another wave of missile strikes on Ukrainian cities Tuesday, including the capital Kyiv, in one of the largest salvos of the war, reports emerged of an explosion in eastern Poland near the border with Ukraine, killing 2 people, according to firefighters. NATO said it was investigating reports that the blast resulted from Russian missiles. If confirmed, it would be the first time Russian aggressions in Ukraine had spilled over the border into NATO territory. The Pentagon and the White House said as of Tuesday afternoon they could not verify the reports. Pentagon spokesperson Brigadier General Patrick Ryder.
We are aware of the press reports alleging that 2 Russian missiles have struck a location inside Poland near the Ukraine border. I can tell you that we don't have any information at this time to corroborate those reports. And are looking into this further.
Poland is a member of the U.S.-led military alliance NATO, which is committed to collective defense. And the possibility that the Polish explosion resulted from an intentional or accidental Russian strike raised alarm. U.S. State Department spokesperson Vedant Patel said the U.S. was talking to a range of partners and called the reports concerning.
And we're working with our partners in the Polish government and our NATO partners to get more information and to assess what has happened. We will make that determination, and we will determine appropriate next steps as well.
But Russia's defense ministry denied reports that its missiles hit Polish territory, describing them as a deliberate provocation aimed at escalating the situation. Nevertheless, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Tuesday blamed Russia and said it was a significant escalation of the conflict.
The longer Russia feels impunity, the more threats there will be to anyone within reach of Russian missiles. To fire missiles at NATO territory, this is a Russian missile attack on collective security. This is a very significant escalation. We must act.
The explosion in Poland occurred as Russia hammered cities across Ukraine with missiles on Tuesday, attacks that Kyiv said were the heaviest wave of strikes nearly 9 months into the Russian invasion. Some hit the western city of Lviv, less than 50 miles from the border with Poland. The attacks left millions of Ukrainians without energy, including in Kharkiv, where the streets Tuesday were drenched in darkness.
Alan Weisselberg, Donald Trump's former CFO and longtime associate, took the stand on Tuesday in a New York courthouse as the prosecution's key witness in the Trump Organization's tax fraud trial. The company is accused of unlawfully awarding executive perks without informing tax authorities for over 15 years. Weisselberg pled guilty in August to avoiding taxes on $1.76 million in personal income and helping Trump's real estate company engineer the tax fraud scheme. As part of his plea deal with prosecutors, Weisselberg agreed to testify at the trial in exchange for a 5-month jail sentence. During questioning period, he said he started as an accountant for Trump's father, Fred Trump, in 1973, and after about 13 years, he went on to work for Donald Trump. He said he ultimately became responsible for the company's accounting and finances after he became CFO in 2002. The company's lawyers argue that Weisselberg orchestrated the scheme for personal gains. Trump has not personally been charged with a crime in the matter, but has called the prosecution politically motivated.